I walked out on a double date because I already rejected her before.
Ooh, twice the pride, double the fall.
To give you a little background to the situation, I, 25 male, met Jane, 24 female, through Joe's, 26 male, girlfriend at her birthday party last year. At first, Jane was fun to talk to, but not even an hour later, Jane was really into me and tried really badly to hit on me during the party, which pretty much ruined my time there as the feeling was not mutual in the slightest. Also, at the time, I was already with someone. By the way, this comes from user GvatchDiddyDatch, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/okstorytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily. We don't have all the answers, though. So if you would do something different than what we say, just let us know in the comments. And OP says, the first impression I got from Jane was she was clingy, annoying, and just wouldn't stop bothering me. Unfortunately for me, she became part of my larger friend group because she's part of Joe's girlfriend's friend group, which that's a mouthful. And because me and Joe hang out a lot, and I'm also friends with his girlfriend, I pretty much run into her at minimum twice a month. So, first time Jane asked me out was a month after that party. I informed her I was with someone and not interested. She tried again 2 months later when I broke up with my then girlfriend. And again, I declined her advances and told her I was not interested. I got into a new relationship not long after, but unfortunately, she and I broke up about 2 months ago. Since then, as you may have anticipated, Jane has asked me out again, and I said no again.
You know what? She's playing the long game, I guess.
She ain't no quitter. And that brings us to this week. Everything's been opening up here, and Joe had been trying to fix me up with a friend of his girlfriend who would not tell me who. He is well aware of me having rejected Jane multiple times and the fact I'm not interested in her. He knows this in detail. After a lot of what he calls convincing and I call whining because I had no interest in dating anytime soon, I relented and decided to agree to this double date idea of his. We agree on meeting at Joe's apartment, and lo and behold, Joe, his girlfriend, and Jane are occupying the dinner table. Obviously, the intention was for my date to be Jane. I honestly got so goddamn angry, and I couldn't even get a single word out. I just turned around and left. I have been bombarded with texts and calls about how much of a D-bag I am and how terribly I hurt Jane, and so on and so forth. I'm like, I literally rejected her 3 times. I'm not interested in her, and you knew that. Your girlfriend knew that. Our entire friend group has a running joke about how obsessive Jane is. So literally everyone knows it. So am I the a-hole?
I really hope on the back end, maybe they were giving false ideas to Jane too. Like, yeah, OP's really interested in you now. Like, he sees the light. If that, like, that's just a sick prank at this point, giving her false hope. If it was just Jane, like, oh yeah, no, like, bring him. Like, I bring him. I would sit down with her and be like, listen, we're going to be seeing each other. You have to understand, I don't like you like that. You're cool, but please just understand. No means no, and you're pushing your boundaries. If you keep pushing, I'm going to just not hang out with you guys, or at least hang out with you.
I'm just going to ignore your existence.
Bingo. You've been nice about it, Opie. I can see why you're getting fed up.
There's some comments here from Just Let Be. Not the a-hole, but your friend obviously is. Setting someone up with someone who rejected that person is cruel. Not the fact that you turned around. I honestly would have done the same. OP replies, yeah, I feel pretty crappy about it though, regardless of my opinion on Jane. That must have stung. Sinjuri says, not the a-hole. You've made your feelings more than clear to Jane and your friend as well. You had every right to leave, as you had already rejected her 3 times, and still she set herself up for rejection number 4. You're not responsible for her hurt feelings at this point. Your friend should have known better than to blindside you with a date with someone he knows full well you have 0 interest in. Though, if I would venture a guess, I'd say that the double date was 100% Jane's and your friend's girlfriend's idea, and your friend most likely just got pressured into convincing you to come. OP says, even so, he's one of my best friends, and he shouldn't be screwing me over like that. Even if it was 100% their idea, I still blame Joe the most. Jane and Larson? Don't mind the username.
Okay.
I'm totally on your side. If they were smart, they wouldn't have set that up. It's like they were hungry for control in someone's life, and they took your love life as an easy target. Or Jane convinced them to do so, despite well knowing your stance about all this, which definitely says something about how she would be in a relationship. OP replies, God dang, Jane, leave me alone. No, I'm just kidding. I honestly do not know exactly what went through their heads to come to the decision that this was a brilliant idea, and I'm not sure whether I'll find out, as I'm honestly doubting whether I want to stay friends with them. After having more of a think and realizing that I'm not really the a-hole, despite the fact that I felt guilty, I have seen one common theme in a lot of replies, and that is that Jane's behavior is obsessive and stalkerish, and honestly, it is. They both knew this too, and decided to set me up with her anyway, which honestly leaves room for a slew of other issues, and there is an update. I think you might end up walking away from this.
Yeah, it's you get 3 strikes, you're out. You don't get a 4th strike. You don't get a foul ball. No means no at this point. I get it. 2 of the times you got out of a relationship, or you were in a relationship, so I get it. She's like, I might as well try and shoot my shot. But, girl, you got to know when to give up.
Yeah, you got to know when to just respect somebody after they tell you no. Now it's getting to a point where, again, I would blame Joe.
A little bit goes to Jane as well, to Jane's corner. I'm like, you've tried 3 times. What made you think this was going to change? Unless if Joe was giving you little whispers in your ear saying, yeah, he's down.
Yeah, could be. We have an update, though, 2 months later.
Oh, boy.
At any rate, like I said, here it goes. It turns out that some of the more pessimistic of you were right. Jane was being obsessive and stalkerish, and it all sort of came tumbling down on her at that point. A week or so after I made my post, she decided to message me. Well, it came down to her not understanding why I was showing interest in her and then refused to date her. I never showed interest in her beyond basic friendliness. She sent me a wall of text dedicated to trashing my previous relationships and calling them all sorts of names, specifically pointing out how I dated the wrong girls. It also included a weird rant about how everyone agreed that she and I were meant to be, which just is not the case. Like I said in my previous post, there's a running joke in the group about how weird she is. Now, you might think this is something that can be expected, something that just happens, an outlet for her of sorts, except she sent it from the wrong account. Huh? See, I had become internet friends with a person in the past month or 2. Me and her would game together, chat from time to time, the usual organic internet friend situation. And the messages concerning our date were sent from this account. It turns out she had literally used this alias to infiltrate my internet friend group and keep tabs on me of sorts. Obviously, this freaked me the F out. I took screenshots of what she had sent me and afterwards blocked all accounts that I now knew she was using. I followed that up by sharing everything in our friend Discord and our friend WhatsApp group, so everyone could see. This resulted in her being booted from both. I later got a call from Joe, fully apologetic, telling me that he had no idea and that he knew he shouldn't have done it. His girlfriend was being pressured by Jane. Turns out, Jane had literally been complaining to her for months to arrange something like this, and she finally caved. Again, creepy stuff. I told him that I needed some time, as he really effed me over big time, and I didn't trust him anymore as a result. And by the way, you can always trust that there's more full episodes with stories like this for you to listen to on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening. Just search OK Storytime, and you've got it all.
But OP, I think it's good to get some time away from Joe. Definitely get some time away from Jane. You got to. I think a restraining order, at least some talks, if this is continuing, because this is very.
It is. It needs to be like a hard cutoff type situation for her. And, maybe Joe is kind of full of it being like, I didn't know, I'm sorry. But it's like, you knew.
And especially, everyone talked about in the group, that's a lame excuse.
And you knew, and it was that your girlfriend did it, and you didn't want to step that, and whatever.
You gave her the light at the end of the tunnel for her to be like, oh, OP does want to go on a date with me.
But let's finish this. While Jane has been shunned by all friends, she still contacted me twice. Once to apologize, which quickly turned weird, where she started talking about us. She seems convinced that there is an us, and that I am interested. Another time, she just contacted me to curse me out, both from random accounts. I'm not sure where to go from here, and I am still pretty shook up, and we've got some more comments here. SnooChipmunks3950 says, I knew it. I told you she'd turn into a stalker. Using a fake alias and trying to keep tabs on you, I am not surprised. So Jane was bothering her friend for months. Then she badgered Joe into setting you guys up. So your friend Joe caved into his girlfriend like she did to Jane. Jane is persistent. When she wants something, she wants it. And she wants you. She'll stop at nothing to get it. By getting her best friend to set that double date up with you, it was accomplished. It took months to set up, but eventually she got what she wanted. Now, as for Joe, at least he apologized to you, but it's your choice if you believe him or not, or if you accept it. At least he acknowledges that he screwed up, but I don't blame you for not trusting him. It'll take him a long time to gain your trust back. As long as he's with his girlfriend, I wouldn't trust her either. Now she calls and apologizes to you. I don't know how to handle that one, but I'll be surprised if she did. Yeah, the girl lives in a fantasy world. Just be careful, cut all contact. If she keeps getting creepy and stalkerish, depending on where you live, tell her you'll get a protective order or restraining order against her and that you will involve the cops.
Yep.
Be safe, watch your back. OP replies, they both apologized, like a full-on long butt apology via email, but I'm keeping my distance from them. Low contact. I don't think I want friends that F me over like that. As for the restraining order, I think it's pretty difficult to get one here.
Dang.
And that is the end of that story.
My late neighbor left me everything, and now I'm accused of taking advantage.
Sounds like you got some jealous neighbors.
I, female 32, recently came into an inheritance when my neighbor and close friend Valerie, female 68, passed away. Oh no. I met Valerie when I moved into my condo in 2018, and she became my next door neighbor. Our places are on the top floor and have almost connecting balconies. And by the way, this comes from user character quality 5429, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/okstorytime subreddit. I'm Keon.
I'm Dakota.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers, unfortunately. We only know what we do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. Pretty please. OP says, we used to spend every Saturday morning outside taking care of our plant babies and chatting. I had learned that Valerie had been a widow since she was 55. I got the impression that she had married young and never had a true chance to learn who she was until after Gary had passed away. I had always thought that Valerie was alone in the world. It turns out that Valerie had had one child, a daughter, Sam, female, 44. However, they had been estranged since the early 2000s. The story that Valerie told me was that Sam had come out as a lover of women, her own gender, when she was just out of high school. That did not sit well with Gary. He told Sam that she was no longer his daughter and punted her out, telling her to never contact them or come home again. The whole situation broke Valerie's heart, and it was her biggest regret in life. She told me that she had always wished she had tried to fight for Sam, but in the moment, she was so shocked that she watched the whole thing happen without saying a word. When I had first heard that story, I asked if she had ever tried to reach out. Valerie told me that she hadn't because she didn't know how to even try. So, I did some internet sleuthing and found Sam on Facebook. It turns out that Sam had managed to build a good life for herself. I helped Valerie draft a heartfelt message to Sam. Valerie apologized for everything and told Sam how much her perspectives had changed over the years. Valerie also asked if they could try and build a new relationship. We sent the message and saw that Sam had seen and maybe read the message, but Sam never responded. About a month ago, I got home from work to find Valerie passed away on her balcony. I sent the link to her obituary and memorial page to Sam. I didn't see Sam at the funeral. There is a lawyer handling all of Valerie's affairs. I thought I would simply grieve the loss of my friend and eventually would have a new neighbor. I never expected to be the only person that Valerie mentioned in her will, let alone to have been left everything. A few days ago, ding ding ding, Sam messaged me. She was upset and demanded that I give her Valerie's things, claiming that I took advantage of an old widow. I was upset when I first read Sam's messages and thought, who does she think she is? She hasn't spoken to Valerie in literal decades and never responded when Valerie tried to reach out. Now, Valerie is her mother, and that entitles her to Valerie's stuff? Now, I wonder if I should do something for Sam. I go back and forth on whether Valerie would want me to. Valerie knew where Sam was, so she could have included Sam somehow. The lawyer I talked to said that the inheritance is completely mine, and that Sam has no claim. Here's the question. Should I give Sam something? And we have some comments. What do you think, Dakota?
I think, honestly, you can make that determination without even wondering, like, what would Valerie want or do? I think now, she is gone. She's given you all of her things, and now it's up to you to decide, hey, what do I feel like is right? And I think if she does come to you and is like, immediately, like, you took advantage of an old widow, it's like, no, actually, I was your mother's only comfort in her final years.
And again, it's not like you can do that aggressively because you can also understand for Sam, she's like, I lost a mother. I lost my family. I didn't have a choice.
And then after having been reached out to, I'm sure she's very confused. I think you could probably give it some time to cool off. I don't know what kind of, assets or you've been left, but
Depends on how Sam goes about this. I know it's like, hey, who are you? And it's also like, it's both of you pointing at the finger at each other, like, who are you?
and it's like, you don't know who I am because for good reason. It's like you were ostracized from your family, and it's like, that's a big deal.
Nobody knows this situation because it's really tough, especially for you, OP. You're like, I was just helping a friend. I wasn't expecting any of this.
Exactly. To immediately come sideways and say you were taking advantage of her, and it's like, no, I was this thing called her friend, actually. It's kind of really all up to your own determination now.
But we have some comments. Let's go ahead and get into those. Comment number 1. There's always 3 sides to every story. Side A, side B, and the truth in the middle. You don't know what happened between the two of them. Not really. So I'd be very careful of vilifying anyone. Reply, I like this idea. In addition, I would not engage directly with Sam. Let the lawyer handle all communication.
I don't really feel like she was vilifying. I think it was more of a reaction to being like vilified herself by being, approached in like a, you took advantage of my widowed mother.
Well, we have an update. Thank you to everyone who has commented and given me the outside perspective that I needed. I'm shocked at the volume of people who have reacted to this. I was really only hoping to have a handful of responses to help me think. I do want to clarify some things that I wasn't able to in the original post due to the character limits. I want to address the timeline of events. Here we go. 1. Sam was kicked out in the early 2000s. I think it was in 2002. Gary passed away in 2011. Valerie sold the family home and downsized to her condo in 2013 because the house was just too big for her. I moved into my condo in 2018. I learned about Sam, and Valerie wrote the letter, and we sent it to Sam in 2022. Valerie retired and had her will and estate set up at the end of 2023. Valerie passed away on January 23rd of 2025. The funeral was on January 31st, 2025. I messaged Sam as soon as the funeral arrangements were finalized. Sam messaged me this past Sunday on February 23rd, 2025, to clarify some questions that people had about the estate. It's currently in the formal probate process. Valerie was a legal secretary for a family law office, and the lawyer she worked with specialized in estate law. She had a full career there, and as part of her retirement package, that lawyer helped her set up her will and take care of the estate.
Okay.
This is the lawyer who told me that everything is being done by the book, that everything will be fully settled in a few months, and that all of Valerie's wishes are being carried out to the letter. I have taken Reddit's advice and will be speaking to a different lawyer about both my legal interest in the estate and how to communicate with Sam. I still haven't responded to her because I haven't been sure how. Her initial messages were extremely harsh and attacking, and that's what triggered that first emotional and protective response in me. I'm trying to take Reddit's advice and be empathetic to Sam's situation. However, that is challenging because Sam has continued to send me a few additional messages demanding that I respond, and calling me a heartless witch and a LGBTQA+ bigot, among other things. I'm not going to respond until after I've talked to that lawyer and could do it in the right way. I do think that Reddit is right, and that if Sam wants any sentimental items, she should have them because they might help her with her healing process. I do want to be clear that the estate is not very big, and is very simple. All that Valerie had was her condo and her car. That car was more valuable to her than it is on the market. It's a 2014 model of a daily driver. I held the spare key to Valerie's condo and have been in to clear out the kitchen and take care of her plant babies because I can't bear to see them pass away too. It's been really strange being in that space without her. I have been given permission to start cleaning out the condo, but not to get rid of anything. I'm going to spend this weekend going through her things and organizing them into boxes. I don't know what type of sentimental items I'll find because Valerie didn't have any family photos on display in her place. Ooh, there are no photos of Sam and no photos of Gary, not even wedding photos. I can't speak to the Valerie who Sam knew. I do know that in her younger years, Valerie was an active member of the LDS Church. She had stopped being religious by the time that I knew her. The Valerie who I knew was by no means a bigot. I knew her as a kind, loving, and accepting person. She knew that I was bi and never judged me for it. She had a pride flag hanging on her balcony and used to attend pride parades as one of those ally moms or grandmas who would hug and be supportive of the LGBTQ plus youth who had no one. I knew her as someone who's trying to make amends in the universe. When I first heard the story about Sam, I was shocked because that just didn't line up with the Valerie I knew. Valerie did have her own Facebook account and knew how to use it, but Sam was not easy to find. It took me a few months to track her down. We used Facebook Messenger because that was our only means of contacting Sam. The message was a 4 to 5 page letter where Valerie told Sam everything and completely shared her soul. Valerie only reached out once because Sam was so much like her father, and I don't want to push her or hurt her further by pestering. I've told her everything I can until she responds. The only direct communication that I've had with Sam was the Facebook messages I sent her about Valerie's passing. I think that covered everyone's questions. Thank you all for providing me with new perspectives. It's been helpful. There's been interest in all of this, so if people want any further updates after probate, I'll try and provide them. And we do have a second update, Dakota.
Oh boy, oh boy.
I mean, that does clear a lot of things up. The fact that Sam was like, you're just a bigot, and I hope he's like, I'm bi.
Yeah, like you literally can't even play that card.
It's also, here's the thing. We don't know Valerie's past. The only one who knows Valerie's past really is Sam. And I know she was trying to make up for it in the world, but I feel like Valerie should have messaged Sam sooner.
Yeah, of course. But again, it's complicated. I feel like you failed, and it's like, I don't know how. I don't know if I should. I don't know if it, And maybe she's like, I'm afraid that if I do message her, she's going to send me a message back being like, no, I do hate you, and I'll hate you forever, and I want nothing to do with you. It's like, seeing that has got to be worse than the unknown.
I don't know. I feel like closure is better than playing the what if. Like, this is like going to be on my chip on my shoulder kind of thing.
I mean, being a parent's got to be crazy. And feeling responsible for that having happened and not standing up for her, it's got to be a wild cocktail of emotions.
And again, I don't blame Sam on not responding to those messages.
It just feels very hollow to now becoming so aggressively for whatever assets her mother had, where it's like to the point where she's like, you're a bigot. And it's like, dude,
it's the thing of, you don't even know me. I don't know you. Let's start off with a simple hello. Like, I knew your mom is this. I guess let's have a talk over this.
A perfect example of just like, if you just come at something with a different attitude, like the outcome could be entirely different.
But we have a second update. Let's see what Opie says. I met with a lawyer last week and learned some new things. Firstly, that lawyer is going to reach out to Sam to ask her to stop contacting me directly and to only communicate via him or the probate process. He's also going to ask her what she wants, both from Valerie and what her goal was from contacting me directly was. This lawyer also explained the formal probate process for my area for me. Legal next of kin only have during the formal probate process to file a contest against a will. Once the process is finished, there is no legal way to contest the will. One of the steps of this process is also to legally/officially notify all next of kin and debtors of the passing and that the estate is in the formal process. So, Sam was notified by the probate attorneys right around the time that she sent me the first message on Facebook. What's strange is that the probate documentation shows that Sam said she doesn't want anything from Valerie. But you do know what I want, because I want you to listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, your favorite podcast app, and search up Storytime. There you will find the ocean, the plethora of episodes and stories. There is a little bit left here.
Let's get into it, because that was a cliffhanger.
So, finishing up the story, my lawyer also told me that the way Valerie's will was written, it would have been challenging for Sam to contest it during the formal probate process. He also said that it was extremely rare for judges to rule against the deceased's wishes, especially when it was easy to prove that those wishes were made when the person was of full sound mind and body. He also added that Sam telling probate that she didn't want anything from Valerie and her intimidation style to contacting me would all add additional layers of challenge if she does not change her mind and files a contest in court. So now, I'm waiting to hear back from Sam. I'm now very curious as to why she would tell the probate attorneys that she didn't want anything, but would then turn around and contact me the way she did. And that is the end of the story.
My best friend turned my life into her drama, so I finally cut her off.
Cut her out.
I had this friend since elementary school, Karen, because, it was a good friendship and I liked her. She liked me. We had a solid bond. I told her everything about me and everything that happened throughout my day or week, and she did the same. But the thing was, she was a bit controlling from the start. She always had to be in the spotlight, even in the friend group. By the way, this comes from user Fickle Balance in 9903, direct from the r/okstorytime subreddit. And if you want to submit your own stories, submit them there. My name's Dakota.
My name's Keon.
And we're here to give you good advice, goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do. So if you would do something different, let us know in the comments. A little backstory here. Back in the day, we had a big friend group that eventually became a trio. The fallouts with the rest of the girls were understandable. It wasn't just her fault. But every time she had a problem with someone, all of us were expected to take her side without even considering the other perspective. Because, as I said before, she was the self-proclaimed leader of this cult. Everything was fine until I went to college and moved out of our hometown. Guess what? She didn't. She went to a college near our hometown, and let me tell you, the people there were immature and ill-mannered. I started college, and Karen joined hers in 6 months later. In my first semester, I found a group of really nice people I began hanging out with. I used to tell her everything, where I went, what I did, who I met. At first, she didn't seem to care much, probably because she always had some kind of drama going on in her own life, which of course I had to hear about, but I didn't mind it. Then I started adding my college friends on social media, and she saw that. She immediately lectured me about it, saying things like, "Don't you know they're boys? Boys are bad," and all that nonsense. At first, I brushed it off, thinking maybe she had a point. But deep down, I knew I wasn't stupid. I knew how to read people. I had good instincts. I could tell who was good and who wasn't. I didn't say anything back and just let it go. A year passed. She started college and met new people. I didn't know them, only what she told me. At first, she was excited. "Ooh, they're nice. The girls are like this. The boys are like that." Then she said, "There's this one guy who I think likes me. Ooh, a boy who likes Miss Karen. That's a big deal." She went to lunch with him in the college cafeteria, and the guy, of course, said things like, "I'm mature. I like you. I want to marry you." She shut him down, saying, "No, I'm a good girl. I don't do relationships." We had both been single all our lives, but she once had this weird dynamic with a tutor. She used to tell us strange things he had said and did, and we were too young back then to process it properly.
Oh, I don't like that.
Maybe a groomy situation. That's not good.
Not good at all.
A month later, she texted me saying, "Remember that guy I told you about?" I said, "Yeah." She replied, "He keeps calling and texting me." I told her, "Well, if it bothers you, block him." But of course, she said, "No, I don't want to give him the satisfaction of thinking he matters that much. But I've saved his number, so maybe I'll delete it." And I'm sitting there thinking, sure. Later, she told me her new friends had done something terrible to her, so she stopped talking to them because according to her, they were jealous. Okay. Meanwhile, my group was thriving. We're going out, eating, laughing, living. And she clearly didn't like that. I get it. Anyone might feel a little jealous if their best friend started spending more time with other people, but not to the extent of calling them names, shaming them, or competing for the attention that no one's even giving. She did all of that. She went through a lot of trauma, apparently, because she couldn't keep friends. Ironically, every single fallout was always the other person's fault. Always. Another big red flag. Yeah, she is everyone else's trauma, actually.
Do you remember this callback, OP? You literally had this callback. You're like, wait, this sounds very peculiar. This sounds like high school. Wait, it can't be.
Every time she's told me about some new person she was getting close to, I genuinely would feel happy for her. Like, finally, maybe someone normal was around, but it never lasted. Whenever something happened in my life and I shared it, her reactions were always dry, like, okay, fine, good. It was strange, but I ignored it. I thought maybe she was just going through stuff, but that hard time of hers never seemed to end. Then that same boy came back into the picture. She called to say he just wanted to be friends, and she thought maybe she would give it a try. I told her I didn't feel good about it, but she brushed it off. A week later, she called again, saying he'd disrespected her in front of everyone. I told her, block him. She said, I'll talk to him first and then block him. Mature move, I thought, but after their talk, she said he was just going through something. And once again, she didn't block him. Stop talking to me about this guy.
OP, I like you. OP's very logical. OP's
Yeah.
like, you know what? I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to give you a good reason here. Okay, don't take my advice whatsoever. Wow, thanks.
By this point, I'd stopped telling her about my life. Every time I did, she'd either judge me or respond coldly, so I just listened. I'd sit there letting her rant about how she was always the victim and how everyone treated her badly, and I was foolish enough to keep reassuring her, telling her she wasn't at fault and that she was a nice person. She'd promised to set boundaries, but never did. 3 years went by like that. The same cycle repeated with the same boy, the same drama, the same attention-seeking patterns. It wasn't even a relationship she was trapped in. She could have ended it by simply blocking, but she didn't.
Could you imagine?
Because she liked being the center of attention and playing the victim. Fast forward to graduation, I finished early because I'd started 6 months before her. At my batch's farewell dinner, I posted a picture with my friends on Instagram, and she lost it. "How dare you do that? You're such a bad friend," she said. I was done at that point. I told her, "They're my friends. I've spent 4 years with them. Of course I'm going to post them."
I'm like, you want some peanut butter with that jelly?
Yeah, peanut butter and jealous. Mind you, she would regularly post pictures with her temporary friends with captions like partner in crime or sister from another mother. That was perfectly fine when she did it, but a crime when I did. I think deep down she resented I got out of our hometown while she was still stuck there. I built a life and friendships outside of that place, and she didn't. Even though she was my best friend for 18 years and I loved her, she often judged me, gaslighted me, and made me feel small. Eventually, I started a job and enrolled in a diploma program at the same time. I was working and studying 7 days a week, no breaks. She only had her thesis to worry about. I was exhausted, but still made time for her, replying when I could, staying on 3-hour calls, listening to her complain about everyone being evil. Sometimes I'd reply a few hours late because I couldn't use my phone at work, and she'd get mad that I wasn't giving her enough attention. She kept picking fights, saying I never had time for her. I tried to explain my routine and how hard it was and how I was doing my best, but she always said the same thing. "You're doing this to yourself. You could quit one thing if you wanted to." What?
She said you could quit your job to give her attention?
Quit your job and quit studying to better your life.
But she couldn't block the one guy that kept bothering her and complained to you about. That's crazy.
Rant and complain and do nothing about it. You don't have time to listen to me have the same problem over and over again. Ay, ay, ay. Yes, I am doing this for myself. Try and be supportive of your friend. Then came my birthday. She texted, "Happy birthday?"
Question mark?
And that was it. 18 years of friendship and not even a proper wish. I waited all day hoping she'd post a story or say something more heartfelt, and she didn't. Finally, around 11 p.m., I asked her why she hadn't, and as usual, she twisted it around. She said, "If it mattered that much, why didn't you ask earlier?" So apparently, I was supposed to beg for my own birthday wish. She also said the only reason I cared was because she didn't post a story. Like, yeah, you're my best friend of 18 years. Of course, I expect a proper wish, no matter how angry I am. I would never ignore her birthday like that and ruin it. Then she said, "I only wished you out of courtesy. Next time, I won't even bother." All right, that was it. I was done. There was another thing, too. I was supposed to visit her, but someone in our distant family passed away, and I couldn't go. I didn't tell her right away because even I didn't know what the plan was. Later, I apologized over and over, but she insisted that wasn't the issue. She said she suspected I had a boyfriend and was hiding it from her, which was such a bizarre accusation, knowing I don't even do relationships. I swore I wasn't seeing anyone, but she wouldn't drop it. Then she said something that hit me hard. "You're acting this way because I never really asked what's going on in your life." And that was the moment everything clicked. She was right. In every conversation we had, hour-long calls, it was always about her and never about me. After that, I stopped replying completely. She sent me voice notes. I answered every single thing she mentioned, but she just kept saying, "You're stuck on one thing. I was mad when I said those things."
Like she's always mad then.
She's always mad, and it's never her fault. What a great combo. At one point, I asked, "Why did you have issues with my friends when you were posting with your college friends, calling them partner in crime and sister from another mother?" She said, "Well, she helped me a lot when I needed her." Mind you, it was the same girl she said she hated 2 months earlier. After that, she stopped texting, and so did I. She deleted my number, and 2 days later, I returned the favor. By the way, You could do me a favor right now
Oh yeah?
by listening to full episodes of stories like this on your favorite podcast platform, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Just search OK Storytime.
This relationship, I wouldn't even call it a friendship. Whatever ship this is sailed. Thank goodness.
It has sunk.
This should have been done a long time ago, and that's okay. You were busy. You were trying to be a good friend. Good on you.
Yeah,
but
and we're young. This is a friend you've had your whole life, and I've had similar situations like that. I have longtime friends where things blow up and go south, but it's that age of like 17, 18, 19 where you start to really experience like, oh, like what
true friends are you want for yourself, and you're like, you're getting to that. It's like that's your 20s. You figure it out. You figure out relationships, even in your 30s. No matter what your age, but 20s is usually when you figure out who do you really want to hang out with, who do you really like assert yourself with, who are your friends, who's nice, who's good, who helps you achieve better, and definitely not her.
No siree. Let's finish this story. A few days later, I found out she told my sister, playing her usual victim card, that I don't know what happened to her. I tried reaching out twice, but she didn't respond. Girl, I did respond to everything, even when I was exhausted and breaking down, and all she cared about was why I didn't reply instantly. So I sent her one final message, everything I'd bottled up. I told her exactly what she did and how she twisted things, and how she played the victim, and how she made me the villain in my own story. Then I said I was done and I blocked her, and you know what? I don't regret it.
Nice.
I miss the friendship, but I don't miss her.